afternoon, and good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and Coffee Stream episode 441. It is Labor Day Monday, and I hope everyone is having a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. What the hell is going on?
A safe and happy Labor Day.
What the
Welcome to the video player.
Why did Siri activate?
Next, forward head pause button. Play.
That was weird. Anyway, somehow Siri heard her name when I said safe and happy. I'm not sure. Hello, functional.
The machines are taking over.
Like, I literally said, I hope everyone's having a safe and happy Labor Day weekend, and she just started activating. It's like, what?
Yeah, those things scare me. Not in any kind of like fearful way, just like scare me in how weird. I don't know. It's just weird.
It's very weird. So we are entering into what is going to be an incredibly Canadian week on this channel.
It's the home stretch.
We have, today, Functional and I are basically going to be talking about, the stuff that happened over the past few days. Then it's Canadian Wednesday. Then we have a debate on Thursday evening. So this is going to be an incredibly Canadian week here on the Blind Press YouTube channel. But oh boy, is it interesting. Like, I'm noticing that as this goes on, the electorate is getting more and more pissed off with Trudeau.
Yeah.
And especially since he's canceled all his rallies.
Oh, he has.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there have been there was a video, and I wish I had it. But his bus pulls up, and there's this crowd of people just standing there booing him and fuck Trudeau, like they're chanting fuck Trudeau.
Yeah.
And like people have apparently started to throw bottles of urine at him.
Okay, it's better than milkshakes.
Pink Hollow's gonna get it for me. He found it on TikTok. He's gonna get it for
Well,
me.
he's becoming the man in the high castle, He's becoming that dictator that we all knew, well, that at least you and I knew that he wanted and needed to be, and he's scared now that people are actually not happy with him.
Yeah.
So he needs to isolate, and he needs to he'll probably expand the governmental powers if and when he gets reelected as well. So be prepared for that.
And we even and so we've got Pink Hollow's gonna get that video for me. We've got a story about a Liberal MP in my area that we're gonna read as well.
Okay.
We've got Brian Mulrooney weighing in on the hostility rising between us and the United States. He's popped his head out of nowhere. And we've got a concern over accessibility for the new COVID passport app in Ontario. So we've got a full news day, and it's when I read his tweets, like, cause I read, like, I don't follow him, but because I guess because I tweet about Trudeau, I see his tweets all over the place.
Trudeau's tweets?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I go into the replies and read. And the more, like, as the election goes by, the replies are getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and the sycophants are getting fewer and fewer. Like there was a tweet he put out yesterday, and I can't remember what it said, but I think it was about housing. And I think I got 30 or 40 angry replies down before there was one. Thank you, Mr. Trudeau, for your service to Canada. Like, it was way down there. Like, and nobody liked the like, there were no likes for that reply. Like, it was.
Costin says, "Was it really urine? Because I don't have problems with most of those things. Besides that, if
No.
it was a human being, yes. But if it's Justine Trudeau, I don't want to get BP in trouble, but I would even think that that's not extreme enough. When there is a power centered around an individual that is potentially as destructive as he is, I don't have a problem with ending that power.
No.
I'm just going to put that bluntly and cryptically. I'm not going to say it outright. But if you take like the consideration of what was the one of the last Western powers to fight the big global elite monster was JFK.
Mm-hmm.
We all know how that ended.
Yep.
And since then, there really hasn't been anybody to threaten that power. In fact, that power has grown exponentially over the decades.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happened in Weimar Germany,
Mm-hmm.
when a certain person came to power. Again, that's why I made the reference to the man in the high castle. Eventually, he became so afraid because of the response from the rest of the world, and he even became so paranoid that his own generals, his own top men, he became scared of.
Yep.
And that one day that they would turn around and lash out against him. And this seems to be, obviously there's no direct correlation. Obviously this is very, very early with what Trudeau is doing. And in relation to what I just said, Trudeau himself is a part of he's not a part of like the global elite, but he's like the global elite fanboy.
He really is.
He's like that
I
character.
I want to be part of the club too.
I'll do whatever you say. Like whatever you want, and trying to become part of the boys club.
Yep.
But nobody wants this nonce in their boys club.
No.
They'll use him. He's a
a
useful idiot.
For sure.
And he's got a lot of financial and political power backing him. However tenuous that might be.
He's that annoying tag-along kid that you can't get rid of, but you can find a use for.
Yeah.
Like that's what the globalists see Trudeau as. It's like, oh fuck, here comes Justin.
At
Like,
least in how you see it when they're at the G20 meetings, the G7 meetings, just the complete lack of strength that he is supposed to exude. A Western leader should have a certain gravitas, a strength. Yes, we are still Canada. We're still one of the friendly. We are like the more friendly of all of the G7. We are the more, level-headed. And it's not just stereotypes. That's how we as a nation think and act.
Yeah.
So even on that level, but he really grinds my gears.
It's crazy. Okay, so let's get this. I know that whatever government we get this time, we're not going to get a minority. Or a majority, I mean.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a minority, whatever it is.
Yeah, one way or the other. It's all really going to depend, obviously, at the polls, and we're either going to have a blue or red minority, and it'll be another pendulum pendulum shift, or the pendulum will stay at the same side.
Yep.
And then we'll just have to wait till the next cycle for the shift. I just hope that people wake up a little bit.
Yeah.
They stop guzzling the CBC cock and actually wake up and go look outside and go, everything's changed, and it's basically his fault.
Well, and it's very frustrating because people have the media has put it in most people's heads that if you look on YouTube for stuff, like if you watch people like us, right?
Yeah.
Then you're watching
Extremist ideas.
Yeah, you're watching extremists, you're watching, they compare people. They used Alex Jones as a
Test case.
basically. You're right, as a test, and they basically go, well, if you go to YouTube for your to get any sort of other opinion on something besides what we give you on the main channels, then you may as well be watching Alex Jones, and you're an insane person.
Yeah.
And the crazy and the scary thing is about Alex Jones is it's a 50-50 shot whether he's right or wrong. It's just his delivery about it. Like he goes insane, right? And
Yeah, it's a bit of a show, but overall, with all of the things that he talked about and still continues to talk about, he's about 85 to 90% right.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's the show, it's the delivery that they were really scared of. They're really scared of people having these independent thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
And that's why I specifically said look outside.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking online, you're only getting half the picture.
Yep.
Continue, sorry.
No, if you go other places, you look outside, go around where
go for a walk, talk to a neighbor.
People,
yeah.
Observe other
Excuse me.
And when you are, consuming media, consume different kinds of thoughts. Don't just go to your tried and true all the time. Go and see what they say, and then go and see what somebody else is saying.
What would you consider to be the most right-wing news out there right now? OAN?
Maybe.
Okay, so I'll watch OAN stories. I'll pay attention to what they're saying, and then conversely, I'll watch some TYT.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't suggest anybody watch TYT because it's just brain rot, but the idea is that's about as lefty, extreme content as I can think of, and I don't stay on the extremes. I go more moderate for either side, see what they're saying, see what Fox is saying, see what the New York Times is saying, and other outlets. And you got to take both sides with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But obviously, in the times that we're living, there's a little bit more salt on one side that you have to sort of weed through. You'd be like, is this true? Is this false? The whole horse ivermectin stuff.
Oh, the ivermectin.
Complete bullshit. Remember, I don't know if you caught the story. There was one of these progressive news outlets, I think it was the New York Times or something, reported on, these hospitals are turning away gunshot victims because they're too busy treating people who have taken the ivermectin, horse people. And the hospital released a statement and said, no, that's a lie.
And they're saying that ivermectin is a horse dewormer. It's
one of its uses.
It's one of its uses, but ivermectin is also used in human medical fields a lot as well. I can't remember what specifically, but I know I've heard of ivermectin.
There's multiple uses. Yeah. Usually dealing with parasites and stuff like that. So it's not something that's unknown to the medical community or new. It's actually quite old. There's no patent on it. That's probably one of the big reasons why it's so demonized in the media. But my point being, circling back, if you are going to consume media, don't stick with one. Don't stick on CBC and don't stick on Fox News. Even if you don't agree with their political leanings and narratives, consume some of that media because you're just educating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you consume something doesn't mean you have to believe it. I used to love watching Alex Jones. Not for his content, because again, I'm the type of person I look at it, I'm like, okay, that seems a little weird and I don't really believe you, but I'm not completely closed-minded. And good God, you are entertaining as all hell.
Yeah, I keep I have a friend who used to watch him and Eddie Bravo. Oh, and Eddie Bravo's just insane.
Yeah.
Like there's no like, and when those two get together, they wind each other up, cuz compared to Eddie Bravo, Alex Jones is like completely sane and completely, has like in comparison, his head is screwed on completely well. He's a perfectly calm, sane individual. Like when they're on Joe Rogan together, for example.
Right.
There are times when Joe and Alex together are like, okay, Eddie,
chill.
That's you can't no. That's insane. Don't say that. Like it's when there's somebody in the room that can make Alex Jones look like a
It makes Alex blush. Yeah.
Sane individual. Oh my
God.
Eddie,
you gotta calm down a little bit here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The lizard men are gonna come knocking at the door, and I'm not really prepared for that right now. But yeah, this is first off, fuck Mulrooney. What the fuck do you know?
Yeah, Seamus is bringing up a good point about the hydroxychloroquine and the chloroquine were demonized by the mainstream media as well. Yep.
Oh yeah. That stuff is. I prefer pectin and HC is. I try to watch what I say because that immediately gets the attention of Big Brother.
Yeah.
Those things are dirt cheap to produce and distribute.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt cheap. There's no profit in it. I'm not sure about the others, but I know I prefer pectin. There's no patent.
Yeah.
So anybody can create this stuff. That's a huge problem for people who want to be making money off this stuff.
Yes.
Again, first thing we talked about when we first saw these mandates for these agreements for the vaccinations, zero accountability from the manufacturers and the developers of these things. And that immediately red flag.
They made it a competition between the manufacturers instead of like a concerted effort to make one really good vaccine.
Yeah.
It was, you could take this one or this one or this one. Like that didn't help.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So this is the article about Brian Mulrooney. So he says, Brian Mulrooney on the rising hostility between Canada and the United States. And they're kind of, I've commented on this before. And we both have. Like, because we both are subscribed to quite a lot of American YouTubers. And I've noticed, there's always been a bit of a razzing, right, of us.
Friendly rivalries,
but
yeah.
It has turned into, like, since COVID started, and especially since Biden was elected,
yeah,
I've noticed that, and I say this with all love and respect to my American friends, but since Biden's been elected, y'all have been outright shitting on Canada. and it's kind of...
Yeah, not just us, the UK too, but I mean, I see how I see that sort of lashing out is the how could you guys let this happen to us?
Like,
And it's like,
I
dude, we are not you. We are not the fucking world police. This is your own internal shit. It's do you people not learn every time you get involved in other countries' internal shit that shit goes to shit. Shit.
like
Yeah.
I was on Facebook the other day and I commented on a Neil deGrasse Tyson post. Okay? Internationally known public figure, right? Because last week he had made he had made this like really gleeful sounding post about Republicans dying more of COVID than Democrats. Because apparently only Republicans are not getting vaccinated. There are no Democrats that have not received the vaccine and are vaccine hesitant. It's just the Republicans.
Yeah.
So I commented on that post, and then he commented, and then a couple of days later, he posted a video of a doctor lady talking about how we need to follow the science and not the rhetoric, right? So I commented that it was ironic that he would be posting this after he posted that really gleeful, ha ha ha, this group is dying, ha 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 ha.
Rhetoric, yeah.
And I had an American tell me I had no business commenting on that because I had no concept of freedom of speech and expression, and I was a non-citizen, so I shouldn't be talking. And I'm like, listen, you guys are not the monopoly on freedom, first of all. And second of all, I am commenting on a public figure who is internationally known. That is a ridiculous position to take in a discussion.
Yeah.
You tell me that I have no concept of freedom of expression and then turn around and tell me I cannot exercise my freedom of expression because this guy's an American and I'm not. Fuck you.
Yeah.
For
the
Christmas.
ironing is delicious. It's people like that and there are people like that on all sides.
Oh yeah.
That are just so
there are some
completely
Canadians
unself-aware.
there are some Canadians that do the exact same to Americans, and shame on them just as much, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not helpful either way.
Yeah.
So this is published, and then, so former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney was talking to Policy Magazine. I've actually never heard of that magazine.
Are they American or Canadian?
I'm not sure.
You know? I will quickly Google that.
God, I can't wait till I have a braille display. In its latest issue, Policy Magazine declares that Brian Mulroney had the best relationship with U.S. presidents of any prime minister in Canadian history. And it wasn't even close. A jury of 50 select Canadians and Americans overwhelmingly chose Mulroney's relationship with Ronald Reagan as well as with George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton as the high watermark in that particular special relationship. The Mulroney relationships were the choice of 62%. Mackenzie King and Franklin Roosevelt were a distant second at 16%. Policy Magazine editor Ian MacDonald interviewed the former Prime Minister about the past, present, and future of the Canada-US alliance. Some excerpts. Oh my God. You know why they... Because he was... Okay, as bad as Justin Trudeau is, as crazy, like, as bad as him and, you know, a possible Jagmeet Singh could be, flip that pendulum over to the other side, and that's Mulrooney. Okay? Like, what the... What?
You also have to look at the... I mean, relations have always continued to get stronger over time. And with the technology age, it became easier with the largest, at one point, largest open border between countries in the history of the world.
Yeah.
And then something happened. Some people did something, 9/11, and the border basically shut down. We are now just like any other two countries next to each other. You need papers, you need your passport, etc.
Yeah.
And that was a real shame. But I've seen that cause quite a rift between the two nations, because even at the common level, our level, the common person level, I haven't been back to the United States since pre 9/11. I don't want to go through that harassment and headache.
I went in 2006, I think. Either
Okay.
2005 or 2006.
Yeah, it was about the same time last time I was there.
And we went on a coach bus. It was a class trip. And I had to have like my birth certificate, and I had my CNIB card as my photo ID. But we had one student who, he was a dual citizen, and he'd been living in he lived in Canada for like a good five or 6 years by this point, right? But he was Iranian. You can imagine how the border guard reacted. It was interesting, because the rest of us, it was, oh, why are you coming to or why are you coming to the U.S.? Oh, it's American history field trip. We're going to D.C. via Gettysburg. He gets to this kid. Why are you here?
Yeah.
It's like, and he was terrified, this kid. He was like, I'm with them.
Child, yeah.
He's like this 16-year-old kid. He's like, I'm with them. I'm in their class too.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. The headache is only going into the country. Coming back into Canada, they'd just be like, oh, welcome home.
Oh, it was. We pulled back through Niagara Falls, and it was like, did you guys have a nice time? Yeah. Oh, great. Welcome
have a good day.
home.
Yeah. There's, like most of their institutions, they've become fully corrupted and angry and at times violent. I am not an ACAB person.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. However, I still have the wherewithal to realize there is a large percentage of police who are fucking bullies.
Yep.
Who are bad people who should not be in that position of power and authority.
I think there should be better psychological testing for police. Like when you're in before you even get to the force, right? When you're in college for policing, you should go through psych tests.
And there should be some
found to be like a power hungry crazy person, then you fail.
Yeah.
Because we do not need that kind of person protecting and serving the public.
And there should be some kind of, like you say, maybe not testing actively while they're going through their, but some sort of observational process.
Yeah.
Check in with a counselor or a psychologist every half semester or something, just to make sure, you're doing okay with the curriculum, and if you're well suited, especially people who are going to be in metropolitan areas.
Yep.
Because that is where you see most of the abuses. And
there does need to be more mental health training for cops.
So again, like, I'm not an ACAB person. I'm not but I'm not the type of person, conversely, to say all cops are heroes. Yeah. There is a certain level of heroism when you want to be put in the line of fire, metaphorically and actually, at times. there is a certain level of heroism that goes into that. I will give that to every police officer. There's a certain level. Some go above and beyond, some do their job, and some just are complete and utter wastes of space on the police force with how egregiously they act. And again, look at the cops down in Australia right now.
Yeah.
And
that's getting ridiculous.
What's Kiwi land called again? New Zealand.
South Wales and New Zealand.
South Wales.
Did you see?
Oh my god!
Did you see Dankula's video? Pinkala was watching it just before I went live. Dankula was covering a police precinct, I believe, held a party for LGBT awareness.
Of course they
Meanwhile, they were like, I think there were stories of like actual violence against citizens just trying to, like, even just go get an essential item. It's like, get back in your house, ah. And, well, obviously, but they can throw a party for, LGBTQ awareness, and there was like, Dankula had pictures up of the party, and there was like tons of food. He was describing it. He's like, there was like these food platters are right close together, and like everyone's obviously going to be reaching in for stuff, and you're eating, so you're not covering your face, and the chairs are all grouped really close together. Because they're apparently opening an investigation to, quote, see if lockdown restrictions have been broken. And Dankula's like, here, let me look at the pictures. Look, yes, investigation over. Hire me. I can do this in 30 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's the rules for thee, not for me. But more importantly, it's all about the commie coof only affects people with wrongthink.
Yeah, or like at my kids' schools, they're not right now at the beginning of the year. They're not getting lockers but if proper health and safety measures can be implemented, they may be giving them lockers later on. And I'm like, why is COVID hiding in the locker? Like, if
I had children, I would have been arrested several times over from this by now. I really would have. I would not be standing for this shit. Just a quick story. My buddy and I, we decided to make a day of it on Saturday and have some fun and go to one of the local game shops and have lunch. And we went to McDonald's, and he was wearing a mask. I was not. I'm exempt for physical reasons.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and here is this 4-foot-tall Asian man with a plastic face shield and 3 masks.
Oh dear Jesus!
Double gloved, looked like he was something out of Outbreak, And I'm like, I can't hear you, so I like turn my head because I'm also hard of hearing on one side, and I'm like leaning over, and he immediately like takes a step back.
Oh my!
It's like, motherfucker. Oh my god, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Do you speak the English? And I knew at that point I kind of stepped over the line.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't because he was Asian. It's because he's acting like a fucking retard.
Yeah.
And then there was some, and this is like a supervisor or a manager or something. And one of the regular grunts walks by, single mask, wearing rubber gloves because he was doing some cleaning. And he says, "Oh, he wants to know if you can put if you have a mask." I say, "I do, but isn't this a restaurant? How am I going to eat?" "Oh, well, you can take it off when you're eating." I'm like, "There's 3 feet between me." Whatever. I go in my pocket, I put the mask on, and I just stand there while my friend goes and orders us lunch. We go sit down at the tables. And they have these big stickers that say, "Do not sit here. Here, you can sit." And on the tables that say, "Here, you can sit," my friend took a photo of this. There are balloons. These balloons are basically, my friend sat down and I took a photo with his camera of this. He's sitting there at the booth, and the balloon is 2 inches away from his face.
What the
the guy walks over. Is everything okay with your meal? And my buddy goes, "Have these balloons ever been cleaned?" Because it. And he's like, "Oh, hold on, I'll get right on it." And he takes this like. I'm kind of diverging from the point of the story, but he takes this like dry paper towel and just starts going to the side of the balloon, like, and I'm like cringing. I'm like, "Can you stop that?" He's like, "Your friend wanted me to clean the balloon with a dry." Oh my god! Do you understand how anything works? Just go, just leave.
Fuck?
You're causing a super spreader event. Your balloons are bad enough as it is, and we're just looking at each other, my friend and I, and we're like, "This is ridiculous. This is like." Everybody who sat down at this table has now spat on this balloon.
Oh my god, balloons.
And now it's 2 feet away from your face or a foot away from your face while we're trying to eat, while we're apparently vulnerable because we took our masks off to eat. Like, none of this is making sense. And it happens. You can look at it from those high levels, like with the police, with government, with their parties and their functions, to just on the ground level, like, what are you doing, McDonald's? Like, this is ridiculous. It make no sense. It make no sense. You're literally putting a surface that cannot be cleaned thoroughly. It is a rubber balloon that you can't really clean. And if you were to use like caustic chemicals, it would just pop the balloon anyway. And you're putting that thing right in front of somebody's face. It's like taking a dirty mask you found on the street and might as well wipe your ass with it, then put it over your mouth. See how sick you get. It is.
Yep.
Not Raj.
So this guy is a local MP to my city. Ow. I just smashed my elbow off of the corner of my other desk.
Yeah, I know Raj. He's had some really good takes on things.
Well, so
well, at least in my estimation.
This guy says he's been booted from the re-election race. Apparently, there's been another article, but unfortunately it's behind a paywall. But Pincalo said something to the effect that his name is still going to be on the ballot, apparently.
Right.
Even though he's been booted from the race. I'm not entirely sure how that works.
Yeah, you can't boot somebody from the race, but maybe they're booting him or quote unquote booting him from being the party representative.
I don't know.
How does that work?
Let's see. So this says, despite a week of unapologetic and public support by Liberal leader Justin Trudeau, the re-election bid by Liberal Kitchener Centre MP Raj Saini has ended. So let's see here. Yeah, third-party ad content, shut up. Steadfastly denying allegations of unwanted sexual advances made towards young female staffers dating back to 2015, Saini issued a statement on Saturday announcing his withdrawal from his re-election campaign in the key Liberal riding. So, yeah, and Kitchener Centre is large. It's a large riding.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. The false allegations have been reported uncritically and at face value and consistently repeated in other news stories, his statement read.
I am shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked, I say shocked.
This is our shocked face. Yeah, a statement from the federal Liberals said, quote, new information was provided to them on Friday, prompting another, in quotes, review process. That led to Saini's ejection. So he's been ejected from the party.
Right.
And then he withdrew himself from the re-election.
Yeah.
The move leaves no Liberal candidate in the key riding, and the ejection came too late to remove Seine's name from the ballot.
Hey, Maxine Bernier, get on that. Get somebody strong in that riding, quick. Maybe he'll actually win a seat this time around.
Hello, Ghost Dog. Let's see here. So yeah, let's see. Trudeau's support of Saini brought criticism from reporters who questioned why the Kitchener Centre candidate was even allowed to run given the allegations against him. Because they're allegations, not fucking convictions.
Where was this demonization when Trudeau had his allegations, huh? Where was that? Where's that? Oh, right. These are all just partisan bullshit artists.
Also, why was Trudeau not railroaded when after he said, I'm all for gender equality, and then did what he did to Jody Wilson-Raybould? What the fuck was that about?
Because he's the protected elite. Yeah, I mean it's. I hope maybe he'll win and he'll just win as an independent.
Maybe I'm not sure if he is running as an independent.
He's still on the ballot, so if he wins, he wins. I don't think he can. I wonder. Oh God, that would be weird. How would that work if he won? Would he be able to just say no, I don't want, and it would just default to the next person? Or is someone else gonna win? Like, this is interesting.
Let's see. Let's see. First broken by CBC News, Saini was reportedly allowed to launch his re-election campaign despite allegations that spanned his 6 years as a Liberal MP. Have there been any charges? Are they investigating?
Corroborating evidence? No? Then nothing to see here. Sorry.
So it says 7 separate sources described to CBC News, for instances where Saini allegedly engaged in inappropriate behavior with young female staffers. What does that mean? What does inappropriate behavior mean? That's not specific.
Telling them they should get married and have children. That could be inappropriate.
Yeah. One complainant who last year filed a complaint with the Canadian Human Rights Commission told CBC she was so distraught she attempted to take her own life in Saini's office last March. You tried to kill yourself in your boss's office.
Women in the workforce was a mistake.
What?
Not sorry. Hey, Skep.
Hey, Skep. Trudeau continued to stand by Saini despite espousing, quote, a, quote, zero tolerance sexual harassment policy, ducking questions by the press and and speaking of, quote, rigorous processes that, according to reports, didn't involve the victim. Wonderful. That's always how you want to carry on things. I'm not.
But again, like we're on the same page here, BP. That if there's nothing there to investigate or prove, and it's just unfounded allegations, there's only so much you can do, right?
Right, but there needs to be an investigation.
I thought that they did.
I don't see one. I don't. It's just allegations. Like, I haven't.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Like I'm
Okay.
just
Okay.
hearing that there have been allegations. I'm not hearing that they're investigating him.
Well, I
Unless
mean,
they're
sorry, I misinterpreted because there was the quote unquote rigorous process
right.
that I thought was actually him saying that something had happened in the investigation, but that was just more bullshit from Trudeau because that's what he does. He
Yeah.
talks out his ass and doesn't do anything. So
So it says, hold on.
oh, there it is in that first paragraph. I see it.
Yeah.
So I'm reading it.
Where is it? Hey, Chrome, don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. I'm not going to get into the details of any one case here. That wouldn't be appropriate, Trudeau said on Friday in response to a reporter's question.
If he was if he was a PC member, there would be
There would
hooting and hollering.
His
And
victims' detail. If he was a PC member, his victims' details would be splayed all over the freaking, or his alleged victims' details would be splashed all over every newspaper.
yeah.
So he says, quote, "But I can say that we have put forward strong, rigorous processes that are available to follow that are in place to make sure that any complaint that comes forward gets followed up on in the right way." What the fuck does that mean, Trudeau?
It's the longest, most winded way to say, we're not doing anything. No, really. I mean, yes, there are avenues to pursue in the law if you are harassed at work. But we're not going to follow up on them because nothing has been initiated. I mean, a crime takes a victim. If the victim's not going to speak up and go to the police or go through the right channels to start this investigation, they can't just do it.
No. So it says calls for an independent probe were likewise rebuffed by Trudeau. Of course. Trudeau's defense of Siney contrasted with the swift action taken by Conservative Party leader Aaron O'Toole, who on Sunday announced Dartmouth Coal Harbour candidate Troy Myers would be ending his campaign after being accused of sexually assaulting a woman in 2019. Okay, sexual assault,
Very different.
very different than,
if true,
quote, inappropriate behavior.
Yes.
And it's not even defined.
Which is
like,
well, that's on purpose. It's purposefully left analogous to amalgamous to why am I using the wrong words? Vague. It's purposely left vague because it seems like that's just a political hit. This, whether true or not, a sexual assault, that's career ending.
Yeah.
And the party has to say, well, and the person himself, Troy, has to say, okay, is this worth fighting? First of all, if I'm innocent, is it worth fighting? Or is it worth just fading away and forgetting about it? Or are they so adamant, so squeaky clean that they can say, no, this is not true. No, I'm not stepping down because I'm squeaky clean.
Yeah. No, I think it was when you've got to, like, and it would be different if, he was, asked to leave the party and he had his day in court and was found innocent, and then they refused him back in the party, right? That would be a little different than. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But for right now, for Aaron O'Toole, I think that was the best move.
Well, again, yeah, sure. But I mean, it's just adding to our perceptions of Aaron O'Toole that he is no different than Trudeau.
No.
The color is different. You know, the policies aren't that different. Still wants carbon taxes. Still wants CRT taught in school. Still wants to bang on this drum of gender equality and racial equality and stuff. Even though we've had that for about 4 decades now, like true equality under the law. It's only been 4 decades for Canada. There were some things that were not shocking to anybody, but were more against men than they were for any, like, you know, I almost said plain white men, but, you know, the average Canadian was more against them than it was for true equality. Like, the definition of rape in Canada as of 1980 there was actually no definition. There was no such thing as raping a man under the law.
Yeah. With
things like that, there were plenty of them that came together that said, you know what? No, this is blanket equality for all. Boom, we have it. 30, 40 years later, they're calling, oh, well, women aren't getting paid enough and this and that. And there's not enough representation in this field or that field. It's like, well, that's because we have freedom. We have the freedom to choose and do what we want in life.
Yep. Thank you, Ghost Dog, for the $10 donation. He says,
woo, Ghost Dog!
For some coffee. And if this stuff isn't real, then why did the party pull him from the ticket?
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of smoke. Where there might be some fire. Yeah, you're right. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see.
And again, assault is something very serious.
Yeah.
Nobody's making any illusions to otherwise. However, the vague terminology of just inappropriateness, that could be anything.
Yeah. He could have said something that is subjectively bothering the person, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know, inappropriate behavior.
It also depends on the purpose, BB.
Vague. Yeah.
I used to work with a woman who I was no way attracted to this woman, but we were working friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if she was wearing a nice bright yellow sundress with white flowers on it, I would compliment her on it. I'd be like, wow, that's an amazing dress. You look great today.
Yeah.
Just in a friendly way. But she is that type of uber feminist, social justice, like, crazy person whom would look beyond those words and be like, oh my God, I can't believe he's talking to me like that. How dare he? How dare this man talk to me about how I look?
Yeah.
I got in trouble several times for doing that. And it was always left very vague as well. Somebody made a complaint, just, you know, and I thought it was the girl that I was seeing who was in another department at work. And that caused that relationship to sort of have some tension. And it was not handled well. But you also got to be careful of the type of person you're around and the levels of severity. If something is a complete nothing burger to, okay, maybe I am being a little inappropriate, I'll check myself next time, kind of, you know, scale of things.
Oh, Maniac Man is asking quick questions. Didn't Trudeau say yes to the question whether or not people or unvaccinated people should be kicked out of ICUs? I missed that. I think there was. I don't know if it was him, but I do think it was a. I do think I remember hearing, a story about a Canadian politician saying something like that. I'm not sure if it was him. I think it was a Liberal.
Really, was it? I thought it was somebody from the NDP. The only story that I actually paid attention to, there was somebody in the States who did that.
Yeah.
It was covered on TYT, and I was just like, whatever. Fast forward. Go to the next story.
Yeah.
I just didn't care.
So yeah, this says Myers maintains his innocence, but agreed to drop out as soon as the allegations came to light. So it was a mutual. Aaron was like, "Okay, dude."
Yeah, that's why I think the Ghost Dog's comment was kind of. Yeah, we're smelling the smoke. There's probably fire there. You know what I mean?
So yeah, that's just the difference between, what's going on in the Liberal Party And the fact that his name isn't going to be, out on or taken off the ballot and or not even changed to independent status. He's on there as a Liberal Party candidate.
Yeah, yeah. Could work in his favor. Like I said, he'll probably, unless this makes waves as far as information dissension that he's no longer on the ticket, which well, let's be realistic here, won't happen to most of the electorate in that area. He'll probably win. It'll probably be to his advantage because people will see the L, they'll just check the name and move on with their day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm asking the questions. Okay, what if? What if he wins? What happens then? I hope he wins. I hope, because I've heard some comments over his tenure as a politician, as a representative, that yes, he's a liberal, but he's closer to our kind of liberal rather than a Trudeauian globalist liberal, in air quotes, liberal, the Americans' colloquial liberal of somebody on the far left. It's a shame. I wish our system was a little bit more ready to make these kinds of last minute changes.
Yeah.
But it's also the good part of having paper ballots, because we have that level of security that no, at the 11th hour, well, right now it'd be the 9th hour, we couldn't just go back and change a whole bunch of ballots for a huge riding like that, because that would leave the door open to corruption, BP.
So, Maniac Man is saying, I saw it on a stream this morning. He played a video, and I'm pretty sure it was Trudeau. I wouldn't be surprised if Trudeau said that.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't. You just got a job. Awesome, Maniac Man. That's great. Good for you. That's awesome.
Sweet, dude. Congrats. And you're totally right, Leonian. You have to act professional at all times. Staying away from parties, especially ones where there's alcohol involved, is always a good idea.
Yeah.
Remain detached from your personal and your professional life.
So this headline says, concerns raised over accessibility over digital vaccine passport rollout in Ontario.
Okay, because I haven't heard of this, so you're going to have to fill me in.
So Ford made an announcement on Friday, that as of September 21st, you will need to show proof of vaccination, double vaccination, to be allowed into some non-essential businesses such as indoor eating establishments, concert halls, movie theaters, gyms, and sporting, indoor sporting events, basically high capacity indoor areas.
This is how you radicalize people.
And I can and the thing is I can see both sides of this. I can see the incredible misuse of this. I really can. And I can also see people, I can also see let's see, I can see, I could just see both sides.
I don't, because I will point to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and that is a gross violation of Charter rights in Canada. Especially if we're following the science. There's plenty of studies out there from around the world at this point that are showing that natural immunities are as good, if not better, than vaccinations. Not against vaccinations. You need a vaccination. You want a vaccination, go get a vaccination. It's like any other personal medical issue.
And then from the other side of it, we already have mandatory vaccinations for, if you want your kids to go to public school.
They need the MMR and
you need to have specific vaccines.
Polio, yeah.
if you want to travel internationally.
But
You
BP,
need to
those same
have-
kids do not need to have those papers, those vaccination cards to walk into a classroom, to go
No.
to the bathroom, to go to the principal's office, to go to recess, to go to the playground. Like there's a stark difference in these two things. For me to walk out of my house to be able to need to show any of the because wait for it, there'll be a new breed of constable that'll be walking around the streets of Toronto to randomly spot check people to see if they have their vaccine passports while they're out and about. Or sorry, out and about.
Mm.
Call it a fallacy if you want, any detractors, but this is a slippery slope. It is not a fallacy because we see it happening in real time. We also have to remember this isn't a political issue. This is not left versus right, because the person who's rolling this out is a very conservative premier of Ontario.
Yeah.
He's extremely in the camp of the
conservative.
Yeah, for a lot of people he really is, but I mean the alternative, that's what, like, we voted against his opposition. Again, the problems with Western voting these days is you're voting against someone, not for someone. But I digress.
So this, let's see. This says Kitchener as the Ontario government gets ready to roll out a digital vaccine passport system next month. Some are wondering how they'll be able to access the QR code and verification app. It better be fucking screen reader accessible. Penny Franklin, 75, has a phone with no internet access on it and is feeling forgotten after hearing about the vaccine passport plan. Yeah, that's another problem. Like, there are seniors who don't feel the need to have a smartphone or like a phone with data on it. Right? So
unless I'm going somewhere where I need Uber, I don't bring my phone outside with me.
Yeah.
When I go for my walks, when I walk to the store, I don't bring my phone with me. Hell, I didn't even know where my phone... Like, so many people are so attached to their phones. I'm not one of those people. I'm not, a senior or anything. So I can empathize with people who just don't have them.
Yeah, like my grandmother, for example, doesn't have a phone. And my grandfather does. My grandmother doesn't.
And the poor. There are people out there who cannot afford.
Poor people.
They cannot afford smartphones. They cannot afford these things. And there's just people who just don't want them. Again, I point directly back to Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Nobody has the right to ask you for personal medical information, ever. Barring a court order to do so.
Yeah.
Nobody has that right. Even if you were enrolling your children into school, they ask you for vaccination records to make sure that they're up to date. You can refuse.
No, you can't. Unless you have a religious exemption, you better have those records or your kid goes home.
But that's what I'm saying. Your kid goes home. They're not getting arrested. You're not getting arrested.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the response for not having this QR code or whatever is going to be? It's not going to be, oh, go home. It's going to be, okay, well, we're going to have to throw you in the back of this cruiser. We're going to have to take you down to the station, blah, 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 blah.
Well, I could see it getting there. I don't think it's there yet, but I could definitely see that slope, that slippery slope. Like, and because I have a weird position on this, right? Because of an anti-vaxxer, I'm blind. Mm-hmm. But I also feel very strongly about people, there are some people who are just completely wrong about the COVID vaccine and are fear-mongering about it. But there are people who either medically can't get it or are just still a little bit hesitant about it and hesitant about the mandation of it. And people are lumping those people in with the morons who are actually anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, that's me. I don't want it. I don't need it. I spoke to my doctor. My doctor said, no, you don't need it. I would recommend it just so that shit like this is avoided.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I don't need it. You say I don't need it. I haven't had so much as a cold in the last 3 decades, 2.5 decades. Fine, be done with it.
Yeah. No, I just feel like it's like I
But
just
you're right. You're right. People are being lumped together as they always are because it's politics, and that's what people do because they're lazy.
yeah. It's so this continues on to say, what does one do if you do not have internet on your phone, she said. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to have to do something else so that we're included in this or in this. Well, see, this is what you can do, uh, ma'am. You can go to your pharmacy and they have, this is what Pincalo did. He has a printout.
Mm-hmm.
And he got it from the pharmacy. They just printed it out, and it has not only the shot that he got at the pharmacy on it, but it has we went to one of the drive-in clinics, where he got his first shot and I got my second, and it has a record of that on his. It has a record of both shots, where he got the shots and like which arm he got them in, like that could be like just carry that around. You know what I mean? Like it's just my daughter literally can't get any of the vaxes required by government schools. It was a whole issue just getting her into pre-K. Oh, does she have like an allergy or something, like because there are people who cannot get the vaccines, like they're allergic to some of the ingredients in them, or they have an autoimmune issue that they can't, like there are people who can't get vaccinated. So like and they shouldn't be shit on for it. You know what I mean? Like that's, I don't know. So it says the province has split its vaccine passport rollout into 2 stages. Starting on September 22nd, fully vaccinated residents will need to print off their vaccination receipts as a PDF or save it to their phone. This will be used as proof of vaccination in non-essential settings. On October 22nd, the QR code and verification app will come into effect. We have no assurance since we haven't seen the app that the app they create will be accessible for people with disabilities that do have a smartphone, said David Lebowski, the chair of Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act Alliance. Yeah, I know those guys. In a statement, the government of Ontario says they will provide additional support in the coming weeks for people who don't have an email health card or ID. The province also says the QR code can be printed out. How does that work? Okay. The QR code can be printed out and will be accepted in paper form. Why not just why not just do what Manitoba did?
What did they do?
They issued a little blue card that is just, it's like, I think somebody on TikTok that Pincalo follows showed it. It's just got your name, and it's got like a little thing that you, like a card, it's a card that you, I guess it has like a thing that you can scan. No like fancy, there's no papers, there's no smartphone thing. It's just a like little card that you carry in your wallet.
Oh joy. In your wallet as we're moving to a more and more digital
Yeah.
space where everything is in your phone and phone case now.
Yeah. Advocates aren't sure what the passport system will look like for marginalized groups, but by asking for equal and accessible, but are asking for equal and accessible options. Places like Quebec rolled out their own vaccine passport system this week, where iPhone users were able to download the app right away, but Android users had to wait several days. That's also well done, Quebec. The Ontario government says it will be watching closely to make sure those same mistakes don't happen here. Oh my god. It's gotta love it. If you're not an Android user, or if you're not an Apple user, you know, because that's what all the governments have switched to. Is iPhones. Like my mom has 2 iPhones. She has her personal phone and her office phone. And they all issued them, and she's a federal employee, and they all issued everybody iPhones. So and then there's one more story from this morning.
It's funny too because I even have a friend who has an old school flip phone and won't ever get a smartphone.
Yeah.
But goddamn, if he doesn't, he's got one of the old school. Remember the ones from the Matrix with the slide? He got one of those many, many, many moons ago, and he's like, "I'm never giving up this phone." And sure enough, like 20 years later, he still has that stupid phone.
I had the last flip phone I had, I think was like, or no, it was like one of the last ones was one of the Nokia bricks that you could like sit on or accidentally kick down the stairs. And maybe the battery might pop out, but you could put it back in and everything would be fine. Oh, good old Nokia. Let's see here. Oh no! So Skep's grandson is vaccinated. He came down with a fever last night, and his best friend has it. Oh no. Skep, that sucks. I hope everything turns out okay, and if he has it, that he gets through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, his son's young. There's the numbers are in his favor, but we're hoping for you.
Yeah, I hope your grandson pulls through it without any issues.
Mm-hmm.
Being sick with anything just fucking sucks, but it's extra frustrating. I've been seeing so many people tell me, because I did a video, there was a person on TikTok asking if she should get her newborn baby his vaccines.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So I stitched it and was like, yes, please. And if you're concerned, talk to your doctor. And there were so many people commenting on my video that they said, I got my vaccines and I got my MMR vaccine and I still, ended up contracting the measles, but it was milder.
They didn't die.
Case than it would have been if they hadn't been vaccinated. Exactly. There were people commenting that there were older people commenting that they remember before the measles vaccine when they had the measles they had to be put in in dark room because their eyes were they had spots in their eyes and
and these are serious things.
Yeah.
Those are very serious things. and this is probably where I differ from a lot of people that we circles that we run with. I don't see this as a serious of a thing, a event. However, that isn't to say it can't affect people seriously. But
Yeah.
I see this as more akin to cold and flu and complications like pneumonia, pre-modern medicine. Lots of people, lot of people annually died from simple things like colds and flus before we started using what's the, oh god, it's such a I'm completely brain farting. Modern aqua water filtration things.
Oh, aqueducts. Sewer.
Well, that's the original, like the aqueducts. What do we call them today? Like plumbing and stuff for cities. Yeah, anyway, plumbing and stuff for cities and water filtration and modern soaps and stuff. Such we have these things to help. Like during cold and flu season, I use hand sanitizer quite a bit.
Yeah.
The rest of the year I do not, because I'm killing good bacteria on my hand as well. But to avoid the very clear and present danger of potentially getting a flu, which even though I still haven't contracted one in 27 years at this point, I still want to prevent. And like we hear a lot of the rhetoric around COVID, I don't want to spread to Elwyn or my kitty or whoever else I might come in contact with, So that's a very clear and present danger to the immediate that you can address and that you can take steps to prevent. A prophylaxis, if you will, a non-medical prophylaxis, washing your hands, proper hygiene.
Yeah. So this, let's see here. So this one is our last article, and it says, Trudeau vulnerable as leadership emerges as defining issue. Yep. Because the thing about Trudeau is he's not a leader. No matter what side of the aisle you fall on right now, it is obvious that he is not a leader.
Nope.
And
he's a cardboard cutout.
Yeah. He's just not a freaking not a leader at all. So with 3 weeks down and only 13 days until the election, it may be that the real campaign is only now beginning. The Liberals must hope so, while the Conservatives may be concerned about having peaked too soon. Let's see. The Conservatives led the Liberals at the long weekend by 36 to 33%. In the daily Nanas poll, an uptick of 2 points for the Grits since Thursday's French debate on TVA. Let's see here.
Nanos isn't accurate though.
Yeah. Their polling is a very small group of people. Those weren't the numbers when Justin Trudeau dropped the writ on a Sunday morning in mid-August, when the Liberals led most polls by double digits. But evidently by doing so, Trudeau was tempting fate. No shit. He certainly annoyed vacationing voters who had been enjoying their first summer in 2 years, free of pandemic lockdowns. Events beyond the control of the Liberal campaign, from the surging fourth wave of the pandemic to the raging wildfires in the West to the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, made the important point that Trudeau should be running the government, not an election tour. Duh. For more than 2 weeks, as their poll numbers shrank with each passing day, the Liberals appeared oblivious, while Trudeau approval ratings trembled. Their media their media thereby remained all about him. There was no sign of the team in Team Trudeau. Nope,
Mm-hmm.
because he's a narcissist. You can't have a narcissist on a team. It doesn't work.
And
Conservative.
that's that the common electorate will see that.
Yep. Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole, meanwhile, was the smiling beneficiary of low expectations, and Jagmeet Singh saw NDP support surge in British Columbia. I'm shocked! In Ontario, hitting the important 20% mark, or in the polls, mostly at the expense of Trudeau. Yep. That's the scary part. Is the people who are pissed off at Trudeau not going like I'm scared that we haven't gone as left as we can. I'm scared that we might still have a bit more left to go before we start to swing back.
Yeah, yeah. But the people who are more in those camps, they'll vote NDP. They'll vote Green. They'll take votes away. I use that facetiously. They'll take votes away from the Liberals. Just like, people who are disaffected with the Conservatives might start voting for the PBC or other independents.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the nature of the game, people. It happens.
Yeah. The Liberal and Trudeau finally tried a new message track in last Thursday's first debate in French on the TVA network. At every opportunity, Trudeau went into attack mode on O'Toole while guarding his Quebec credentials. In exchange with Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet on the TV debate may prove to be a preview of this week's debates, organized by the network consortium in French again on Wednesday, before the only English debate on Thursday. Yeah, this shows you exactly where the leaders think all their votes lie right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically telling English Canada that they don't care about them right now.
No, because that's where the importance. That's where again, being a little bit facetious here, but that's where some of the important swing votes are right now within Quebec.
Yep.
That's just fact. The bastions of red and blue throughout the country are going to remain bastions of red and blue, respectively.
Yeah.
But big swing votes are in Quebec right now. That's why they have two debates there, even though 90% of Canada is English speaking.
Yeah.
Go figure.
There was no
Politics.
winner. Yeah.
Politicians gonna politic?
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it?
Exactly. There was no winner of the TVA debate There was no winner in the debate in the knockout sense of the word. Trudeau, even in exchange with Singh and Blanchet, took every opportunity to attack O'Toole on social issues. Trudeau seized particularly on gun control and assault weapons. Yes, because we have just, as I said on Twitter yesterday, I quote tweeted him and I was like, you make it sound like there are roving bands of gangs brandishing assault rifles plaguing our streets across the country. Like, really, stop it.
No, there are other roving, quote-unquote, gangs of people.
Brandishing handguns
Brandishing
that come in
harsh-
from Detroit.
Well, I was thinking more of policies that he himself has been enacting, these sort of quote-unquote roving gangs. It's nowhere near the severity it's happened in other places in the world. Don't get me wrong. Assaulting children and women.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the prairies. We've seen story after story of a certain types of people who are targeting vulnerable people in society, women and children.
Yep.
And whether or not it's physical, it always starts off with words and harassment and violent rhetoric, and then sometimes we'll go to blows. But why is this not being addressed? This is something that is antithetical to Western society. first of all, Canada, second of all, but it's also something that is spiked in recent times.
Yeah.
This has not been something that has happened since, early years of Canada, where there was very high racial tensions for other reasons. But these aren't racial tensions. These are cultural differences between people. And if somebody is going to physically attack a woman and I mean, I'm going to try to not drop the ball, but I'm going to give a big hint for not being properly covered up.
Yeah.
That becomes a problem.
So Trudeau seized particularly on gun control and assault weapons and whether the Conservatives would rescind a Liberal order banning them. Well, the Liberals went to the trouble of putting out a follow-up statement Friday, claiming, quote, "The only thing more shocking than O'Toole's deal with the gun lobby is the gun lobby, not gun lobbyists, but the gun lobby." Apparently there's like a lobby somewhere with guns in it. Is that...
I could use a few more guns. Yeah.
is that he lied to Canadians about it when he said he would maintain a ban on assault weapons.
I don't believe you, Trudeau. I don't believe this statement because I think O'Toole is exactly the type of conservative representative that would keep this assault weapons ban in place, even though it's not really lawful and not a problem in Canada.
Yep.
We don't have the same, like, this is my biggest issue with these fucking useless idiots. We don't have the same problems as our American counterparts.
Oh God, no. So this says O'Toole certainly had some explaining to do, but to call him a liar. For the rest, stay tuned to Trudeau and the Liberals attacking O'Toole on childcare, two-tier healthcare, which we already have, and even a woman's right to choose. They're not going to... Oh my God. They're not going to reopen that debate.
They're riding the coattails of what's happening down south and using it as easy talking points. Because they're painting O'Toole and the Conservative Party as like what happened recently in Texas.
Yeah.
That has never been an issue up here, except again back to early days of Canada where it was more puritanical with stuff like that. But again, it's not an issue here. What are issues up here? More day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
If there are international policies and like what about how our current standing with Afghanistan?
Mm-hmm.
That there's a big issue. Nobody wants to talk about that.
How about our standing with China?
Yeah,
nobody wants to talk about.
Well,
that
no, we say nobody, but we all know there's one person who's willing to talk about that at length.
And I'll give O'Toole credit that he's been very pushy about that in the House of Commons as well.
Yeah,
I'll give him credit for that.
He's stronger in the House than he is on TV.
Yes.
In the media, which is, I mean,
kind of what you want.
I can and I can hardly blame him for that because it is, bought and paid for by Trudeau, our media.
I almost want somebody who's better in the House because that's where you actually
get shit done.
Yeah, that's where things happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want somebody who all he wants to do is dance in front of cameras all the time. Trudeau. So let's see here. But Trudeau will continue to take hits this week on the unnecessary election call during the mounting fourth wave of COVID-19 in his in his newser following the TV8 debate. He said rather lamely that an election was necessary, quote, to find a way out of the pandemic. Seriously? The next morning, Dr. Theresa Tam, the government's chief public health officer, gave an update in which she declared, quote, "The Delta wave has continued to accelerate along the strong resurgence trajectory," and, quote, "This is a crucial moment." Of course it is.
I
Of course
remember
it is.
last year being called a conspiracy theorist, saying that the 2 to 3 weeks to flatten the curve would turn into months, and then numerous lockdowns, and then mandated vaccine, and then vaccine passports. I'm really glad that's not happening.
Oh, yeah. Gee, glad we dodged a bullet there. Quote, "We needed leadership," O'Toole replied. Oh, did
You
I
skipped
skip
a paragraph.
something? Oh, yeah. "There are other issues on which Trudeau is vulnerable, including his office's failure to take action against former Chief of Staff General Jonathan Vance and other general officers for alleged sexual misconduct against women in uniform." Trudeau said in the TVA debate that, quote, "We followed procedure." Oh, that's comforting. We followed procedure. That's amazing. "We needed leadership," O'Toole replied, adding, quote, "You were in charge." Yeah. "Leadership could be emerging as the defining issue of the campaign." Could be. I
Thanks,
think it
National
always
Post.
was.
Thanks, National Post. You're just amazing journalistic integrity. Oy vey.
Wow.
I'm kind of at a loss for words. I'm just shaking my head, going,
It could be, huh?
honk honk. Fucking clown world.
Oh my
It used to be a joke, and now I'm like, oh my god, clown world. This is worse than a zombie apocalypse.
I'm seriously waiting for Mr. Spock to step out of the shadows and be like, "Your agonizer, please. Give me your agonizer."
Jesus, now you're scaring me. Oh my god. Because I mean, literally, if we go back to what I just said about thinking about what I was called and branded and was saying a year ago, to what would be said about me now, and then a year from now, what actually would happen, like that kind of shit doesn't surprise me.
Yep.
The kind of stuff I said about a new police force that, vaccine police kind of thing. Sure, right now that's conspiracy theory.
But
In a year, that might be our reality, and it's terrifying. Because there would be that officer who's, Spock with the agonizer, tases me, throws me in the back of the car because I'm being unruly. Whew!
see, and that's where it's gonna start. It's they're not gonna arrest people because they're unvaccinated. They're gonna start arresting people because people are gonna throw a fit because they're unvaccinated and they're not being allowed in to eat.
Disturbing the peace,
being
yeah.
allowed to
Refuse
go watch
service.
a movie, or they're not being allowed to do whatever. That's what's gonna start it, is they're gonna arrest people for being angry and disturbing the peace.
And again, the conspiracy theory right now, which that's not a bad word. Conspiracy theory is not a bad word. That is all it is it's theory about a conspiracy. My current conspiracy theory is that they just want us all, or as many of us as they can, forced to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Stop using the roads. Stop using transit and everything else, and just keep us at home, keep us consuming. That alleviates half of the pressure on society.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, BP, we're there. We got through today.
We did. And please be sure to come back on Wednesday for Canadian Wednesday. And
Cover
tonight,
a little bit more. Yeah.
And tonight on Twitch for Beat the Blind Girl. And
Mortal Kombat!
exactly.
And then we've got that very special
debate.
show Thursday night. I believe it's 7 Eastern?
I think
8
so.
Eastern?
I need to check I need to see what what time it is.
Yeah,
I
pay
think.
attention to BP's Twitter. She'll be posting it out once we know have a hard time and a hard
Yeah.
set date. I'm sure we'll start, a good 15, 20 minutes before the debate so we can, give our predictions, talk about some stuff that may have developed in the 24 hours since
Yeah.
Canadian Wednesdays, and say hello to all you beautiful people in chat, and then we'll dive deep into the live debate. Should be good.
Let's see.
Is Pinkala going to join us for that?
Probably not, because the
Okay.
kids might still be awake.
Sure.
So
Somebody's got to corral the kiddos.
Yeah. So let's see where my poll is.
Mine I keep in my pants.
I've got a Twitter.
I'm not
poll
judging. Oh, a Twitter
going.
poll. Nice. What was the question?
Oh, about what drink I should acquire for
The debate.
for the debate.
Oh, I will be drinking some 12-year Scotch,
Ooh.
single malt from Elay. Some nice, just my drink of choice when I actually do drink. I don't drink that much. That and maybe some beer just to wash it down. Just get a little.
Well,
we'll have a good time with it.
I can't find the poll, but there's a day left, and the choices are rum, my usual hard cider, or vodka.
Ooh, I'm not on Twitter, but put me down for a hard cider because I don't mix. Even though I'm of Russian descent, I don't have good reactions to vodka. I do like some rum though. Rum and Coke was always my go-to when I was DJing, and I just needed something quick that the idiot bartender at some dive bar who didn't know how to mix actual drinks, because I love me a Manhattan, but who didn't know how to actually mix drinks, just give me a rum and Coke. Just fuck off, give me some sugar with some vodka, rum in it. And if you're feeling a little a little froggy, a little frisky, a little yar matey, go with the rum. But I think the hard cider is a good choice.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. And we will see you guys back on Wednesday. And I will see you on Twitch later tonight. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye from space.